The BS Report is a free-flowing conversation that occasionally touches on mature subjects.
First of all,
This is the BS Report with Bill Simmons.
it might be cool, I don't know. And if it's not, I don't
The
care.
BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Bill Simmons works for ESPN. He's also named the sports guy, and he writes a comical sports column. He must be a popular dude.
The BS Report.
It's got a real dirty sound, like a rusty steak knife cutting through a well-aged steak.
Now.
Here's Bill Simmons.
Welcome to BS Report. We're taping this on Tuesday morning. Brian Scalabrine in the studio. What's happening?
Life is good. Life is good after I'm done playing.
What was it? It was 11 years.
11 good, strong years.
And now you're going into the media. Maybe.
Yeah. It could
Sort
be,
of.
Yeah, I'm kind of halfway. It's kind of the dark side, but I'm trying to make it a lighter dark side.
What do you mean the dark side? Because you still want to play, kind of.
Well, the dark side is, as in the players think all media is the dark side. you know, but I'm trying to make it like more of a shade of gray.
A beige.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, wait, I mean, were you ready to hang it up, or?
No. You're never ready to hang it up. I always thought that I would get kicked out of the league and I would try out and get cut. But,
Right.
This year, like going into it, I had no opportunity to even try out. They just didn't want me in the NBA this year, which is fine. You know, you have to deal with the reality of what the situations are.
But even at you're 34 now.
Mm-hmm.
The chemistry you bring to the table. I mean, every year we learn how important chemistry is. Juwan Howard what is he, 40 now?
Yeah. No,
He's still like good practice guy, good chemistry guy. Like every team has one guy like that.
You would think that that's important, but I think that as we're moving forward in the NBA, it's becoming less and less important. I think people are looking more to take a chance on a guy to see if he might pan out to be something great. And if he doesn't, then you just cut him and go get somebody else and then try to, like guys with talent that don't necessarily have, like good locker room vibe or the brain to play the game of basketball right now. Maybe they feel like they can develop that.
So you're saying there's a devaluation of chemistry, you feel like?
Of intelligence and chemistry, yes. At the low end of your bench.
That's not good.
Maybe these guys know what they're doing. They're getting paid millions of dollars to decide what's best for their team.
But I mean, I would even argue the NBA is devaluing it too, because this new high five chest bump pregame warm up rule. You only have 90 seconds now to get all your handshakes out.
I don't know why. I don't know how they're going to be able to do that with the amount of things that go on before a game. Sometimes it was up to 15 minutes. How are they going to condense that down to 90 seconds?
I was making fun of a friend of mine who works for the league. I was like, this is one of the most ridiculous things you've done. He's like, we had to do something. It was a free-for-all.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Like this guy, like just mass chaos of handshakes, high fives, people falling all over each other, people like bear hugging each other.
Yeah, but don't you feel like the fans like that stuff?
I enjoyed it.
I mean, it's entertainment.
We started a Twitter account called NBA Chemist, and we're gonna have we're gonna do it this year, I think, but we're gonna do these power rankings for who's the best chemist, because we figure like each team has a chemistry guy.
Yeah.
Who's like, it's basically one of their specialties. And you were obviously on the Bulls, although you had some competition on the Bulls. You guys had multiple chemists.
No, I was the only one.
No, you had with John Lucas III.
No, but he actually played. He got a lot of minutes this year with Derrick.
Well, it doesn't matter if you play or not. If you're a chemist, like
yeah,
guys who respond, like you have to remember handshakes and the chest bumps for each guy. They have to be different. Some of them
like Eddie
really
House. Eddie House is a perfect guy like that. Okay, he can play, but he has to be in charge of all those things.
And the handshakes can't be the same.
No,
you have to each one. Maybe this guy you do three in a row, and then you pull the hand. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to remember.
Eddie House was probably the greatest chemist I've ever played with.
Really?
Yeah. Better
so
than
who's
me.
your top three? Eddie House won. Who was like the Nets in the glory days of the Nets? Who was your chemist?
Who was the chemist on the Nets?
Did you have one? Maybe it was you.
No, I didn't have I didn't do the handshake stuff until Eddie House came around. He taught me. He was like the pioneer, and I kind of jumped on board.
Well, the 08 Celtics, which you were on, you won a ring.
Yeah.
An unbelievable array of chemists.
Yeah.
Because James Posey, I feel like James Posey
is another good one.
I feel like he invented the wait at the scorer's table and hug each starter.
Yeah.
I'd never seen that before he did it.
And he gives you a message. When I was I started like 11 games that year or something, and I got the message too. It was
what did he tell you?
It was inspiring. It was just go out and play your game. Good stuff, though.
I thought it was going to be something really important.
No, of course not. You can't. But before a game, you can't go too deep. You have to keep it very surface.
Right. So did you remember different handshakes for each guy, or did you just stick with a handshake chest bump thing?
No, I think that I was a handshakee as opposed to.
Or you handshakee?
Yeah.
So you let the other person lead the handshake?
Yeah, like.
That's really the right move.
I
I'm
wasn't
still learning
giving
how to do that.
I just get the one from the chemist, Eddie House, and give him a special handshake.
Right. I'm doing that because I'm doing the NBA show with Jalen and Magic, and I've decided to let them lead all the handshakes. And when we greet each other, I'm just they're in charge.
Just like you got to be,
you got to be
strong,
out.
but you also have to be able to adapt quickly.
To move quick, all that stuff. That 08 team, which is really kind of a crazy collection of. You'd Sam Cassell too. We forgot him.
Sam Cassell, great chemist guy.
We had
a lot of chemists on that team.
And PJ Brown, who was like the most liked veteran
of all time.
The last decade, right?
Yeah, for sure.
No question.
But he got a lot of heat for joining us halfway through the season.
Well, it was like people felt like he was chasing a ring, but he played. I mean, he
was big
two of the
for
biggest
us.
Game 7 Cleveland, two of the biggest shots in that game.
If you ask Garnett, I mean, he knows that PJ did things that we didn't have other guys to do. I mean, he would foul a guy hard, but he would help him up.
Right.
I mean, he was a good combination with him and Perk.
Right. Did you feel like, because it really, I mean, 7 games first round, 7 games second round, and they both times much more talented than the other team. That team was pretty tight. And I mean like tight, like everybody wanted it so badly, it almost took until the Detroit series that everybody just kind of relaxed and started playing their game. But did you feel like, were you ever worried that they were going to somehow squander one of those first 2 rounds? It was Atlanta round 1, Cleveland round 2.
Cleveland maybe. Atlanta no, because of our dominance at home against them. I thought there's no way that they were going to come in and beat us on Game 7 on the Boston Celtic home field.
Right.
No way. Cleveland though, when you have a great player like LeBron, you just never know what could happen. I mean, one of the great playoff performances of Paul Pierce, LeBron James going at it, it was a joy to watch. And it took, those plays could have went either way. Like the ball could have bounced either way on those.
Agreed.
But
that game came very close to losing that game.
Agreed.
Cleveland was 2 jump shots away from maybe winning that game.
Perfect. That's a great way to describe it because, the PJ Brown, he's hitting a 17-foot. You would think that Cleveland would be okay with him taking a 17-foot shot.
Yeah.
And he knocked it down. But I think that series right there loosened us up. And then we went on to lose a home game against Detroit.
Yeah.
And I think at that point, it was like we knew we were going to win. Like everyone was like, we got this. We got this. It wasn't like you would think the opposite would happen after we lost one of those home games. We're going to be stressed out and how are we going to win? We can't win on the road. Like everyone was like, no, we got this. We got this. And then you saw us and how we kept progressing through that. And the team just improved so much after that. And little things didn't bother them. And Garnett just, like you see his focus, especially even during the finals against the Lakers, he was so locked in, and it was a good locked in. After one of the games, we went up to Garnett's house in Malibu and had lunch, and you could tell like we all had this like calmness that we knew we were going to win a championship.
Could you tell the Laker fans who seem to still think that they would have won that series if I think Bynum wasn't healthy and Ariza like. That was Boston's year. They weren't winning.
I don't want to I love all NBA fans and they create great things for the greater product that we're trying to create. But there's no possible way you can possibly think that if you lose by 40 in Game 6 that you were even close to beating the Celtics that year.
100% agree.
Okay, let's say we won Game 6 by a last-second shot. Maybe you can say, hey, we could have won that. Maybe we could have won that game and then won Game 7. But if you lose by 40 in the NBA final, you just aren't. You're not as good as the other team.
Right. Did you feel the 09 team was better than the 08 team before KG got hurt?
No, but you know what's funny? I feel like the 2010 team that only won 50 games was our best team.
Really?
Yes. I thought it was
the team with Rashid?
Yes. I thought for sure that team was so much better than 08.
Because Rondo was better.
Rondo was better. Pierce was better. Allen was better.
You think Pierce was better? Interesting.
I think he was.
Or maybe he was.
I think like the evolution of his game. Like he could play more outside. He could play off the ball more. Like in 08, we relied on him to do so much with the ball. But just like by sacrificing his stats, our team became better. And then you see how Pierce does it. All of a sudden, you need him for something. He'll get 34 and 17 or something like that. So Pierce, I thought his game evolved to like, I know I can turn it on when I need to turn it on. Then you add Rasheed Wallace, who can score down low and stretch the defense.
But Rasheed took the regular season off, though.
You know, I think at the end of the day,
it was a little frustrating as a fan.
Okay, so if you were to break down what he did in the first half of games, he really dominated, and in the second half he struggled. Maybe it had to do with his conditioning.
Maybe.
I'm just saying. Maybe it had to do with his conditioning, but maybe we should have sat him in the first half and just played him the second half.
Or basically he used the regular season to get in shape for the playoffs, which I had never seen before. But in the game 7 after Perk got hurt, he played 35 minutes.
He was struggling.
He ran out of gas.
Yeah.
I still think the Laker fans they get mad, they make fun of me, but I still think we win one of those last two. I'm going to say we like I was on the team.
With Perkins.
The Perkins thing was a huge thing.
Yeah, especially because
we just didn't have enough guys.
We got dominated on the glass.
Yeah. They out-rebounded us by 20 in Game 7. It was tough. That was a tough loss.
Agreed. Probably the hardest loss I've ever been a part of. And
Plus
I've lost
to be there
3 times in the finals. I mean, obviously, the Lakers in 01 or 02 killed us. But for sure, that loss will stick with me forever. But you know what? You learn more from things like that than you do from winning championships. You do learn more from losing.
What was the plane like after that one?
We didn't fly until the next day, so I think like it was, like you kind of get over that and you kind of say your goodbyes while you're but I think that everyone kind of felt like we let one get away and you let the ultimate prize get away.
Right. But in 02, 03 with the Nets, you never felt that way.
01, 02, no. 03, yes. Let's think about this.
Against the Spurs?
Yeah, let's break this down. So
interesting.
In the third quarter, if I'm not mistaken, I think we were up by 21.
Which game?
Game 6. And ended up losing by 13. So to have that kind of a swing in one quarter is like unheard of.
Yeah.
But we had we moved Jason over to 2, so he was guarding like Steven Jackson or Ginobili, and he was doing a good job of roaming. And then when he would get the rebound, San Antonio would be in cross-matched, and the Kittles would run the floor, and we really had like a nice rhythm against them. Kittles came out of the game, and we put in Lucius Harris, and then at that point, like we sort of lost our momentum. And I don't know, have you ever been to San Antonio and watched the game?
No, but I've heard.
Yeah, like once they get going, they got them Cowboys going, and they really do get on a run, and it is like really hard to stop.
Yeah,
you call a timeout. And when they come out, like the crowd is just as loud as it was before, and they like pick up that run again. So it's a.
So you'd put them in the top 3 crowds. Sounds
as far as like in big games, like we played big games, and when they're on a run, they are very probably close to Oklahoma City, like the same kind of thing.
Wow.
They know how to bring that energy back up even after a timeout. Most NBA crowds, you bang a timeout and then they go to their cell phones, they lose attention, whatever it is. But like those type of crowds, they just get right back into it.
I was okay with the 03 finals result because Duncan was out of his mind that year.
It's very good.
It's like usually the best. If somebody has the best player in the series and he's also one of the best 12 players of all time and at the peak of his powers, he's probably going to win.
That sounds like your book. Like you
it
wrote
does
that
sound
down.
like my book. Yeah, maybe
wrote that down.
I plagiarized myself.
You did.
But yeah, I mean, that was the best he's ever going to be. That series was closer than people remember.
Yeah.
I think people thought it was going to be a blowout because you guys had gotten blown.
Yeah, but we split. When you go to on someone's home floor and split game 1 or 2, I mean, you're in the series, and then they go 2-1, and then we lose 6. So
let me ask you this: so Kidd, in 02 and 03, he gets traded to the Nets. At that point, he had been traded twice.
Yeah.
He was a guy who definitely had the pedigree to be one of the best players in the league, but we hadn't totally seen it. Couldn't totally shoot. A little bit of a head case. Do you see where I'm going here?
Mm-hmm, yeah. What's the question?
Rajon Rondo.
Yeah,
Could you say that Rajon Rondo this year?
That's a good point.
Is he at the point of his career that Jason Kidd was heading into that 01-02 season? Could we see an MVP type performance from Rondo?
Yeah. So to preface this question, I did call him. I think Rondo wins the MVP this year.
You think Rondo wins the MVP?
Yes,
See,
I
didn't know you thought that.
Yeah, I went on air and I said Rondo wins the MVP this year.
I'm not going to go that far, and I'm the biggest homer on the planet.
Yeah, I mean, and I have to shade that way too right now.
Yeah.
But just from the fact that if you look at what Steve Nash did during that time when he was with the Suns and how much better he made the team and how Rondo is doing sort of the same thing with ball in his hands, running pick and roll, transition. This was, if you look at Jason Kidd and Rondo, and those are the only two players you can really compare because there's no one really else like that in the NBA. Two guys that really can't shoot, but they can dominate a game. They can dominate without scoring.
And also, Kidd's shot got better.
And same with Rondo.
As his career went along, and I feel like that's happening with Rondo.
Yeah, so I think that these two players right here, they're like Jason, I think he should have won the MVP, even though Duncan was out of his mind in 2002.
One of those years you could have talked me into it, maybe 2002.
Duncan won it back-to-back, I think.
Did he?
Yeah.
I remember one of them, it was definitely like he transformed the Nets, there was no question.
Yeah. But I think Rondo's taking, like, here's the difference. Jason Kidd is a culture changer in the NBA.
Yep.
So, and obviously,
explain what a culture changer
like
is.
He has his he's not even in the building, but his hand is touching everything. Like the weight room is ran differently, the practice floor is ran differently, the individual workouts are ran differently. Practices, game is before the game, after the game. Like his influence, his ideas of what basketball should be is right there, even if he's not there. That's what it.
So he almost intimidates everyone else into following his lead because of the example he sets.
Like when you look at a guy all about winning and he does everything it takes to win, his preparation, his work, everything.
You almost feel guilty as another athlete on that team.
It's just you raise the level. It's the same reason why like Garnett could not play in 2009 during the regular season, and the Celtics can still win 60 games, 61 games.
Because he had established the culture.
Take Garnett off that team from the beginning, then they win 47 games. Put Garnett on that team, even if he doesn't play, they win 60-something games.
Right.
It's like he changes the entire culture of the organization.
And everyone's terrified of him.
It's not like that. It's not like that. But you want to work at his level at all times.
You're not a little bit terrified of him?
No, he's not like that.
Nothing?
No.
He's a little more intimidated than Jason Kidd.
If you guys see the game, Garnett, there's a different, 60 minutes on the clock. At that point, no one talks to Garnett anymore.
Right.
Okay. But before
you're not allowed to talk to him in the hour before the game, right?
Yeah, I mean, 60 minutes on the clock. But he's watching Family Guy like an hour and a half before the game. So just to let you know, it's a switch that he turns on at 60.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So he's going from Family Guy, Happy Garnett, cracking jokes, and then all of a sudden at 60, boom, you're not allowed to even look at him anymore.
Like he's so locked in. It is, but it's the culture of Garnett, and you realize that's how he is.
Yeah.
And it's fine. It's not like, what are you going to say to him? Like, come on, loosen up. No, you don't say that. You're like, this guy's locked in.
Have you seen Argo yet, Kevin? You're not going to bring that stuff up, right?
No. So that's Garnett. So you just respect that he takes his time and he does that, and once he does that.
So you think Kidd in his own way has the same kind of...
Both those guys. Like places. So I played for 3 teams now. And all teams have been... I mean, the Bulls had the best record in the NBA last 2 years. The Celtics have the best record in the NBA. I don't think the Nets, we ever had the best record, but we went to the finals twice. And the 3 people that I've seen change culture are Kidd, Garnett, for their respective teams. Like Doc does change culture as well, but,
right?
Using 2 guys for individuals. And the last one is Tom Thibodeau. He does the same kind of thing.
Tom Thibodeau.
Yeah, that's a left field one for you there. But
I thought you were going to say Rose.
No, it's
because Rose is a quiet guy.
Yeah, he does his own thing, but Tibbs really changes the culture of the organization. I mean, he has his hand in everything.
So we're going to swing it back to Rondo. I'm not going to forget because it's an important thing. But so like the Bulls, 48 wins is their over/under this year, and Joe House and I did our over/under podcast yesterday. We both went under for the Bulls. You're saying that the culture that Thibodeau's established could survive 3 months without Derrick Rose.
Yeah. In the regular season in the NBA, with good coaching and smart players, you can win a lot of games.
But they also lost Asich. They lost
good
Ronnie
coaching
Brewer.
And good coaching and smart players. Do
you feel like the Bulls have the right players though?
Yeah, they're intelligent enough, and he'll make sure that his guys are doing what they need to do to make sure they win the game.
Now I'm worried about my Bulls under pick.
Yeah, you should be.
Interesting.
Yeah, you should.
When do you think Derrick Rose is coming back?
I don't know. February, March. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm not
because the Adrian Peterson comeback made me wonder if Rose is going to come back sooner than later. Just Adrian Peterson 9 months later is running for 100 yards in these games, and he had a worse injury than Rose did. All right, back to Rondo because this is really important.
All right.
So you feel like Rondo's at all the same check marks that Kidd was at. We both agree he's as talented.
Yeah.
But does he have the ability to change the culture the way Kidd did?
Well, he doesn't have to until Garnett's gone. So Garnett signed a 3-year deal, so he's off the hook as far as that.
So he can be Garnett's vice president of culture.
There you go. That is the best way to describe
VP,
it.
the VP.
He's the VP of culture.
Okay.
And he is.
And he seems like he's taking it seriously.
Yeah, and that is the key. The three things he has to do. One, he has to be nice to the media because the media votes. Do you have a vote?
I have a vote.
Okay, so he has to be nice to the media.
I voted for Rondo last year for second team.
NBA?
I think. Yeah, I think so.
Did you vote for him for all defense? Who votes all defense?
I don't remember.
2, he has to pick up his individual defense, his on-the-ball defense. His off-the-ball getting steals, very, very good.
He's a big cheater and trying to jump passing lanes,
Yeah.
but in terms of actually just standing in front of somebody and locking them down,
He has to
Courtney
improve.
Lee is much better at that.
Yeah, for sure. And there's a lot of guys that are very good on-the-ball defenders that don't get a lot of credit. It's
Kyle
almost
Lowry,
not bad.
Eric Bledsoe,
Very good.
Courtney Lee.
Very good.
Yeah, they're out there.
Yeah.
Rondo gets credit for that, and he's not good at that yet. He's not
On
bad.
the ball defense is the most underrated thing in the NBA. Like people never bring that up. Tony Allen, another example.
Chuck Hayes.
Chuck Hayes on the ball, yeah.
I watched Chuck Hayes in a Lakers.
You can't back him down. It's ridiculous.
Dwight Howard went at him twice, and both times Chuck Hayes like, "Get this out of here! You're insulting me, Dwight Howard.
It's
You have no
crazy.
moves. This
I don't
is
understand.
idiotic."
You see his legs are like the size of like the elephant legs.
He's like a low post defense ninja.
Yeah.
So Rondo, you feel like we both feel like is going to.
Take that next step.
I think he's an MVP candidate, and I don't
Yeah.
feel like I'm being a homer saying that.
No.
I like
mean,
all the stuff that
Rose
he's done.
Rose is out. They're tired of giving it to LeBron.
Yep.
Okay, the Lakers are going to.
Durant's in there.
Durant is in there for sure.
The Lakers are all going to split it up. Nobody will emerge as their
Yeah.
best guy.
But okay, so what has to happen? Celtics have to win 60 games. Rondo has to lead the league in
Rondo has
assists.
to score more.
A little bit more.
A little bit more.
Well,
He
see-
can't have these 5.13 assist games. He's
There you
got to
go.
have 13.13 assist games.
Yes.
And I think he knows he needs to score more because he's been shooting all summer
Yeah.
and he's more assertive offensively.
Yeah.
I just think the other thing we didn't mention, not being on the Olympic team, is Rondo. He's one of the best 10 players in the world.
Agree.
Wasn't on the Olympic team. It was like this little we're the best
Yeah.
players party. And he's
Yeah.
sitting there watching it the whole summer, and it wasn't even considered. Nobody even said, boy, this is weird, Rondo's not here. Meanwhile, he was the only healthy guy on that Celtics team last year. They're up 3-2 in the series against Miami. He was single-handedly carrying that team to the brink of the finals, and then, of course, he played a bad Game 6.
Yeah.
Game 7, they just couldn't get it done. But to me, he's in the top 8 or 9.
Yeah, I think the Olympic thing is that has to probably do with the hangover of the World Championships. Remember-
I'm not blaming them for not putting him on because he had that weird thing
Yeah.
with Derrick, and I mean, I'm just saying like he's one of the best players in the league, and he wasn't on that team. If you look at all the guys who
Yeah.
weren't on that team, he's the one that jumps out as like,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Especially if he's going to be the best guy on a 60-win team this year.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not against him being left off because clearly international ball is a little weird for him. I don't know what happened that in the summer when they were figuring it out.
Yeah.
Seems like him and Derrick don't really like each other. They go at each other hard. See, you're in the middle on that. You're like Switzerland.
Derrick
It's not
doesn't,
friendly.
Derrick doesn't like the fact that I like Rondo, and I don't know if Rondo likes the fact that I like Derrick. I don't know.
What are you gonna do? You're on both teams.
No, I mean I think they're both great players. They're
Yeah.
different, like completely different players.
Well, you were on the Celtics when that started because in the 2009 playoffs,
Yeah.
that's when they started going at each other.
Well, Derrick, Kurt Heinrich guarded Rondo a lot.
Well, but I mean, it was just more of a
Yeah.
going back and forth.
Yeah.
Rose was getting attention.
Yeah.
Rondo had his big triple-double
Yeah.
game, and it became kind of a thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're both very good and both very different.
Yeah. Well, Derrick, I mean, explain what he's like to have as a teammate.
Oh.
That's a terrible question by me. I sound like a sideline reporter.
Yeah, you do.
How about let me rephrase the question. What is it like to have Derrick Rose as your teammate?
Derrick Rose is probably the greatest athlete I have ever played with.
Oh.
He is the hardest. How are you going to say this? He's the hardest worker when it comes to his game and how hard he plays. He plays extremely hard.
That's why his knee went out.
No fear.
Yep.
I mean, if you see things and you don't even comprehend what he just did because he's so fast. I was watching a game on film after the game. He was coming down the lane straight. He had his left foot outside the lane of the NBA lane. He elevated up in the air. A guy stepped in front of him. He jumped sideways. He flew halfway across the lane. He laid it up. When he landed, his right foot was on the outside of the other lane. So he literally jumped from running straight and jumped sideways the entire length of the lane. I think it's like 18 feet. I mean, I've never seen anything like that. And he doesn't even know he did it. But
Right.
So like those type of things, and you add that with hard work, and you add that with a guy who's driven to win, you could see why like he's as good as he is. Now, the body, he has to work on his body, because if he's going to take that type of beating,
Yeah.
he has to, like every NBA superstar growing up has gone through this. You're good, and you're athletic, and all of a sudden now you get hit so hard going to the basket, get hit, fall, get banged up. Now you have to kind of recover from that. He has to build his body up.
Well, and also the way he plays, I would describe it as violent.
Very violent.
The way he goes to the hoop is just so hard.
Yeah.
And I gotta be honest, like I wasn't shocked that he blew out his knee, because if you watch him in person, you're just like, good Lord,
Yeah.
like the amount of torque he puts on his lower body. And
Yeah.
he's also, I'm glad you thought he was the best athlete you played with, because I can just judge it from being in the stands. Like him and LeBron and Westbrook, I think, are the three perimeter guys that
Yeah.
you just watch in person. And Kobe was like this early in his career. He's not anymore. But just the three guys you watch in person, you're like, oh, my God, I belong to that species?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
I'm on this.
how is this
I'm in
happening?
the NBA, and I say the same
Yeah.
thing.
It's
Yeah.
like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Because Westbrook will have plays,
Yeah.
too, where it's like, he'll get a rebound. He just goes down the court in 7 steps, and he's
Yeah.
dunking. And you're like,
Yeah.
I was here. How did that happen?
Yeah.
Like,
I
think
agree
Rose
with you
like that, too.
100%.
Is there anybody else like that? I'm trying to think. I'm sure Rondo,
Different way.
Rondo in a much different way stands out. The things that he does and the weird angles he sees and how he uses his
Yeah.
hands, and he just does things I've never seen on a basketball court before. He's almost like, it's interesting. I think he said he had never watched an NBA game until he was 16 or something.
Yeah.
And he kind of plays that way. Like he's invented a couple things
Agree.
that don't exist.
I agree with that. Like, that's the best way to describe it. I mean, he doesn't fall under the same category as like watch Michael Jordan score 40 and watch
then
how
emulate it.
No, he's
Yeah.
not doing that. He's like, our goal is to get the ball in the hole. Like, how can I do that? How can I do this for my teammates? How can I do that for myself? Is there different ways to do it? The way that he has, and he is a monster athlete as well.
Yes.
Okay, he's not as explosive as Derrick Rose, and
I think he could have been a quarterback.
yeah, I mean, you should see
thinking
him
like
throw the
those
football.
long hands, yeah.
And just like his reads, extremely intelligent, like off the charts intelligent.
Yeah.
And this is another thing with players that are really smart, going back to Jason Kidd and Rondo, like they see things differently than most people. So I can see how a coach might butt heads with him, especially in the NBA.
Yeah.
Half the guys are insecure about their jobs anyways, and now they got this point guard and they're butting heads with him,
Yeah.
and they got to blame someone for the loss, and that kind of stuff definitely happens. Accepting the fact that these guys are at the top of their game, and the way that they see the game is just like off the charts. You can't even comprehend that. So
the stuff with Ray that came out started trickling out this summer, and then now it's like no secret, and it's almost like both sides have now spun it a little bit in their way, and it's pretty clear those guys didn't get along, especially last year, but they probably dated back to 2009, whatever. And it's weird because when Rondo was younger, like his first, second year, Ray was the guy who took him under his wing, correct?
Yeah.
So what do you think happened?
I mean, things change in relationships all the time.
True.
Like two people that they got along, and then like Rondo has the burden and the responsibility to run the Boston Celtic team, and if Ray has a different idea of how it should be ran, which I can tell you he did. And and listen, he's not the first and he's not the last NBA player to say like, I think that we should do this for us to win. That's just, that's just NBA players, and their mindset is what it is. But I think it got to the point where it's just. You had to balance. Rondo has to balance all this stuff out, and if they start having beef because Rondo doesn't pass him the ball. Ray thinks he should get the ball. Rondo thinks that this guy was open. That stuff can really spiral out of control. And I just think it would have been better, and I think that the public, you, me, everyone would have accepted just saying the truth from the beginning. Like, hey, I didn't like I'm fitting in here anymore. I'm just gonna try to do something else. It's just like I want the challenge of doing something else.
Right.
Like if you start with a lie and then you compound it with a lie, eventually it's just gonna be a whole mess of lies, and then the truth is gonna come out eventually. Especially nowadays when there's so much media.
Right. So, I mean, let's figure this out, because it seems like Ray's issue was I'm not getting enough touches. But if anybody who watches the Celtics know, for Ray to get touches, you got to run him off 19 screens, and Rondo's got to be dribbling on the top, waiting for him to curl around, whatever, and get open. And for just as a fan watching the team, it felt like Rondo was getting frustrated because he's sitting there pounding the ball. And then if Ray comes off the screen, he's not open, then Rondo's got 6 seconds to create some sort of shot. And it's just not the high percentage play, And I think that's what was the root of the problem.
Here's is where I would like to see Ray move on from this. Ray does his job just by being on the floor. Let's say me and you were playing.
Right.
And like, all right, Bill, you got Ray, don't leave him. No matter what, don't leave him. Don't help out, don't do anything. So we're just going to play.
You're not allowed to leave him ever.
We're playing 4-on-4, and you have Ray Allen, so you stay. Now,
when I play hoops, that's what people say about me.
You're
not allowed to leave Simmons, period. You do not leave him. The 17-footer is too deadly. Do not leave him.
17-footer's only worth 2, though. Ray Allen's shots are worth 3.
Well, no, in L.A. they don't play 2s. They just play 1s.
Oh, everything's 1s?
Everything's 1s, yeah. So I just mastered the 17-footer. But go ahead. I'm sorry. I interrupted.
Okay. So, like, in my world, the way I see basketball, that is fine. Like, make a few shots when you get them. Yeah. Run a few plays when we need to execute something.
You can be a little bit of a decoy.
But in general, you're going to be a decoy because you are taking an entire man out of the play. It's so hard in the NBA to guard 4-on-4. Like it's because of spacing and the amount of. And
especially if you have Rondo, KG, Pierce, and Bass as the other 4.
Can you imagine?
All 4 of those guys can score.
And then you have one guy just like, okay, and then you got to think Pierce on the other side. Like you have to, just by him being out there, it helps. The problem with it is it's not good enough for Ray. It wasn't good enough for just being out there and saying, hey, I'm taking my man away from everybody. That's good enough. It's about like touches and shots and shot attempts and how many opportunities do I get as opposed to the team. So Rondo probably looked at that and said, well, like I like you being out here, but I'm not going to force feed you just to stroke your ego.
Yeah.
So all it has to do is spark that little idea, and then that can go on and it can turn into all kinds of things. Just like any relationship, just like any work relationship. It only takes like something really small to like get some momentum and turn this.
Well, and then it obviously doesn't help when they try to trade him to Memphis and Chicago.
Yeah.
He was almost on your team again.
Yeah.
And then Ray finds out about that, and this is where I'm going to defend Ray, and I have. In Boston he took so much heat because he went to Miami, and the Celtics tried to trade him twice. At that point, there's the loyalty just isn't quite there anymore.
Yeah,
How do you feel loyal to a team that tried to trade you?
I don't understand that we're talking just from a fan standpoint, right? I don't understand the thing about the loyalty. Like, it's like you don't have any, like, if you work for Pepsi, you're not loyal to Pepsi. You're not going to, like, say no to a better opportunity at Coke if you work for Pepsi. If a guy works for something, there isn't, I don't understand, but sports is a little bit different.
Yeah.
They say it's different, but, you sort of have to figure out, like, what's the best opportunity for you. And that's, like, we have the right as human beings to make decisions.
Yeah.
And that is, like, the most, like, LeBron, he wants to go to Miami, go to Miami. I know he left Cleveland, maybe the way he did.
You know why? Because athletes don't care. Athletes don't care like fans do. Fans care about, oh my God, he was on the Red Sox and he went to the Yankees. How could he do that? And the player's just thinking like, yeah, the Yankees offered me more money. That's where I'm going.
Well, then athletes do care. They care about more money.
Well, they care about what's best for them, as you said.
Yeah, what's best for them,
but
opportunities, family.
Fans are holding them to this much higher standard of, no, we hate the Yankees. You can't go there. You know what I mean? And I think that was what tied in with the Ray thing. It wasn't just that Ray left. It's that he went to Miami, a team that the Celtics fans hate. And it was like, how can you switch sides? You traitor. And that's what pulled all that stuff.
So if he went to Memphis, it would have been okay?
I think so, yeah.
So it's only because he went to Miami?
Yes.
Are Cleveland fans mad because he went to Miami too? LeBron went to Miami?
No.
Because
Cleveland fans are mad because
LeBron left.
Well, it wasn't just that he left. It was how he left.
How he left. I don't disagree with that. That was a little bit ridiculous.
He went on national television and broke up with them on live like it was The Bachelor. It was The Bachelor of the Final Rose. But for Ray it was the Miami thing 100%. I think the Celtic fans, the Boston fans, as you know, can get very passionate, can develop irrational dislikes of teams and players, and have developed a healthy hatred for Miami.
So Ray Allen back in Boston, what happened?
Lakers would have been the same thing.
Okay, Ray Allen,
the Lakers,
Ray Allen,
same
Boston
bitterness.
Celtics, Miami in Boston.
He's gonna get booed.
Oh, he did a lot of great things.
He should have shut up. He should have stopped talking.
Like, what do you mean stop talking?
This latest round of interviews he did, I think, pushed it over the top. He should have said, you know what? I'm not interested in talking about my time in Boston anymore. I had 5 great years there. I love playing with those guys. We won a title. The fans are fantastic. And whatever they're going to say, they're going to say. I'm here in Miami now. I love those fans. I can't wait to go back there. Like, it's very easy to handle it.
Yeah.
And instead, he's still in some sort of chess match with Rondo about whose fault it was. It's like, just shut up.
Yeah.
Stop it. Plus, he took half as much money to go back there. That's the other thing I think the Boston fans were like, you want to get out of here so bad and go to Miami so bad you took half of what the Celtics offered? That's a little weird. And also,
if that really happened.
Let's be honest. KG and Pierce are not happy about this. If there's an underrated story right now, it is the level of animosity that those two guys have for the fact that of all teams that Ray could have gone to, he chose to go to LeBron because those guys hate Miami. Those guys hate LeBron. You can say it. It's okay.
I don't know if that is true. Like, I don't know.
Well, those guys. How many times have you watched KG and those guys just try to punk LeBron out on the court and all the stuff they talk to
wait
him?
a minute. But let's just.
You were there for some of those games.
Agreed. But listen, there is a time in which it's time to move on.
I agree with you.
I think that Garnett, Pierce, Rondo, Doc, Danny, Ray, LeBron, they all knew it's time to move on. This relationship was no longer. It was going to be detrimental to the Boston Celtics for this to continue.
Yes.
It all worked out. I think it worked out great for everybody.
I don't think it worked out that great for Ray.
I think it'll be fine for him.
You just talked in detail about how Ray didn't want to be a decoy and stand in one spot and be used to spread. What is Miami going to do? They're not going to be running plays for him.
Well, I'm telling you, if you're going to pick your poison,
right?
Ray Allen gets a lot more wide open shots in Miami.
All right, fair point.
Yeah.
So you're saying he gets more wide open shots, but he's still a decoy. He's still a guy stretching defense.
He'll get the ball. Like, if you have, I mean, I hate to say this. I do. I really do, because I don't like them either. I got to go and do the game, you know, with Comcast, and I got to do this and watch them get their rings. I don't want to do that. I have to do it. But I'm telling you, if you had to make a choice between LeBron going to the hole and dunking or coming off Ray Allen, I actually think, in the weirdest sense, that I'd rather have Ray Allen shoot a wide open three than LeBron dunk, because of what can happen once LeBron gets a layup. Then he starts making shots. Then he starts in the pose. Then he starts looking like a
Wasn't Bosh going to be the big winner, though?
I mean,
because if you keep your guy near Ray, and then you also do all the things you have to do to contain LeBron and Wade, whoever has the ball, Bosh is the guy that you're like, I guess he's going to have to beat us.
I mean,
15-footers wide open. Here you go, Chris Bosh.
And then you have Lewis on the other end. I mean, this team, maybe they don't have the size up front to do this, but LeBron sort of like is an asterisk to that. But man, they have shooting and guys who can make plays. So I think he'll be fine. I think Ray would probably be happier in Miami. Boston, they got some good replacements.
Can we talk more about the animosity between Boston and Miami? It's pretty good. Like, we're kind of going back to the old days, because we know the Celtics and Lakers don't like each other. We know the Celtics and Miami don't like each other.
Do you think the Heat?
I don't think the Lakers and Clippers like each other. I think that's also a thing. And the Clippers don't have the manpower the Lakers have, but I think there's bad blood there. We have bad blood in the league this year. I love it.
Okay, do you think the Heat hate the Celtics?
I think LeBron hates those guys.
Actually, I do agree with that. I don't think they hate him from last year. I think it's a cumulative effect.
And I wrote it after it happened. That Game 5 that LeBron had in Boston, which you were out of the playoffs at that point. No, Game 5 or Game 6 in Boston.
Yeah, I was there. I was working with Comcast.
Oh yeah. LeBron, I think they had pushed him over the top. I really
no,
do.
you know who I think pushed him over the top? I think the media pushed him over the top.
It might have been that too.
I mean,
but
I was sitting there because I'm doing the series. I'm on JetBlue, and all I can hear is Skip Bayless and Stephen A. just like debating how LeBron is terrible. Like,
Right.
why don't you guys watch the game? The guy is not terrible. He had a bad minute 30.
Do we even know he's listening to that stuff though? You
Who?
think the players listen to that?
I think there are people listen to it, and then like,
And then they tell them.
yeah, it's like it gets filtered through.
You think players read that stuff on Twitter?
Like, I think
Did they read their Twitter replies and they see like Bayless was killing you today, LeBron?
they filter it through. Like, this is probably going to get filtered through to somebody.
Right. That's true. We should be careful.
Scalabrine hates somebody.
Yeah. Scalabrine
Simmons
killed
was
Ray.
killing somebody.
Yeah.
Ray Allen. I promise I do like Ray Allen, but this is somehow going to get to Ray. It's going to be like.
But you've heard some of the stuff KG says to players. Like it's about the mental game.
I
on the
love
court.
it. I love it.
He says some mean stuff.
Are you
It's
kidding
his
me?
goal to really kind of mentally destroy the opponent a little bit.
Yeah, that's why he's the most hated opponent in the NBA, but probably the most beloved teammate in the NBA. Talk to anybody that's been on his team, and even Big Baby, who he made cry in the middle of a game.
Right.
I mean, he loves KG, but so I had another beef, right? Joakim Noah, Kevin Garnett, major beef between these two guys, right?
Oh
Major
yeah, and you were
beef.
teammates of both.
Yeah. And those guys, I mean, like they hate each other. You know, it's the way it is. Like
I forgot Bulls Celtics is another rivalry when Rose comes back, because you got Noah and Garnett and you have Rondo Rose.
Yeah.
Those are four people who all dislike each other.
Yeah.
Except for Rondo and KG. Yeah, you get what I'm saying. The KG teammate thing. Because you always hear this.
Best.
Give me like two stories to explain like what kind of teammate he is. Because we always hear that people always hear like, oh, he's an unbelievable teammate. But
I mean,
like, give me a story.
Little stories like in Rome, first time we're there.
You're talking 2007.
7, 8, yeah. So
When the KG, Ray, and Paul are all together.
Yeah.
Okay.
In Rome, guy comes by selling suits. KG buys every rookie. The guys that aren't even going to make the team. 3 suits. Every coach, 3 suits. KG, has helped out. Don't want to give names or amounts, but like other guys in tough situations financially.
Teammates, former teammates.
Former teammates.
Yeah.
He's one night in Phoenix, we play Phoenix. This is a personal story. Phoenix, me and him, we walk outside the hotel, and he's sitting there. He's in a dark area all by himself. So I'm like, I want to walk over there and see what's up. So we walk over there, and we talk for like an hour and a half about like basketball and what he feels and what he wants to leave the game and how he wants to leave his legacy, and all he wants to do is for everyone to understand that this game is not a game, it's like a lifetime passion.
Yeah.
And then you see, and we're watching guys like a guy get in the car and leave, and they're going out, and he's just sitting there watching like, man, these guys got to know the sacrifices they have to make to make it.
Right.
And this guy is like incredibly locked in during the season. He has fun. Back of the bus, talk, whatever. But when
busting balls, he's a big ball buster.
Yeah, big time. But when he locks in, it's just like he's so locked in. And like those are the type of things, when you have a guy like that, it's hard not to like him. Like if you love basketball, like that's why I have a hard time with the NBA fans and even players. Even if you hate Garnett, like even if you talked about your mom, if you watch him and you just don't like him, I just can't see how you love the game of basketball. You have to like him. You have to.
But I think it is fun to have people that you root against, and I think he's fallen into that.
Yeah, I know everyone hates him on the road, but like if you love the game, how can you hate this guy?
But I think deep down people respect him.
Like it's like Kobe. I
hate Kobe, but I totally respect him.
Unbelievable amount. Like his drive and how he's so locked in. Like, I mean, the guy is like, he's won the 2010 championship. He took that. He's a great player, but like, and he plays for the Lakers, and I'm consider myself sort of a Celtic, but my respect level for him is off the charts, because he is like, he works at his craft. He dedicates his life to what he does.
So your career, you came in 2001, and you spanned basically Shaq's peak, Kobe's entire peak, LeBron's apex, Kevin Garnett's peak, Duncan, his peak, Jason Kidd's peak. You have Derrick Rose right now ascending, Chris Paul maybe ascending, Durant. So who's the best player you were on the court with?
The most dominant player by far is Shaquille O'Neal. Like when he was at his best,
Ooh.
he is by far the most dominant player of my era.
Over LeBron.
Oh my gosh, this guy he is remarkable during his let's call it the 3 championship years.
00, 01, 02.
Yeah. Remarkable. Like you can't.
So you went against him in the 02 finals. Did you guys are going to have a chance?
No, it's like it was a facade if we thought we actually had a chance to beat them. He is so dominant. Now, is he the best basketball player? Did he have the best mind? Did he have this and that? No, he doesn't. He's not the.
He didn't have a lot of the Kevin Garnett stuff we were talking about, the culture.
I've heard, I've never been a teammate of his, and I've heard, like stories that he's not great in working on his body and improving himself conditioning wise. So let's go with longevity. I got to give the nod to Tim Duncan, and maybe even Jason Kidd. He had Tim Duncan's era of dominance is much more than Jason Kidd's, but Jason Kidd is still playing into his 17, 19 years. Garnett, longevity.
Right.
You got to give those guys credit.
What would you do Duncan versus KG at their peaks? Because you probably had to guard both of them, right? A little bit.
Yeah. No. They're different. Duncan is he's much more of an efficient scorer than Garnett. Garnett is not a post player. Like Duncan is a true post player.
Right. He's a center who never wanted to really be
and why is that important? Like the Bulls score 3 buckets in a row against the Spurs. Popovich can go on the sideline, give a punch signal, and give it to Duncan, and Duncan's going to get you to the free throw line. He's going to get you a good shot,
or get you a wide open 3 or whatever.
Yeah. Now, exactly. He's going to cause the defense to collapse. Compromise the defense one way or another. Garnett, maybe he does that, maybe he doesn't do that. But Garnett is more across the board. Like defensively, he's better on the ball. He could switch a pick and roll. He can challenge shots at the rim just like Duncan can as well. But, because Duncan has done it for so long and Duncan had a really good team, I would have loved to see what would have happened if Sam Cassell didn't tear that hip muscle.
Oh, no, 4.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because that team was stacked and they were good.
Yeah.
And Garnett was good. And it's a shame because after that their team broke up and they were out of the playoffs, and that was really Garnett's peak years. When we got him in Boston, he was he peaked in 08-09. That was his best year.
He was in the league for 13 seasons by then.
Yeah. I
think he peaked in 04.
04 he was dominant.
04 he was 25-13 every night.
Yeah, they had no point guard. It was Derek Martin was bringing the ball up the floor. In the Western Conference Finals.
Right.
I wanted to see what Shaq was going to do in the pick and roll against Garnett in 04.
Yeah.
With Sam Cassell. But those things happen in basketball. You got to manage those things.
We had in 09 with the Celts.
With Sam Cassell?
When KG got hurt.
Oh, yeah.
That 09 Celtics team, before KG got hurt.
We were very good.
It was what was it, 30, 24 and 5, or
I think it was 29 and 3 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was way up there. You're just rolling through. Everybody was comfortable. But
so it is. And Kobe, and you have to give him, the nod for longevity. Last year he averaged 30 points a game at 17 years into the league or 16 years into the league.
Right.
So it's there's a lot of great players. The guys who stand out more than anything are just Shaq was the most dominant player that I ever had to that I ever saw in my era from those 3 years.
Who was the most talented guy from your era that you feel for whatever reason just didn't get there, and it's surprising to you that you just look back and you go, man, how was that guy not?
No, because when I don't hold talent in high regard as other people do. I'm more about results.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's all kinds of talent out there, but I look at what is this guy doing in the fourth quarter compared to the first quarter? You see a guy come out in the first quarter have 10 and ends the game with 12. I want to see what a guy's doing. And Derrick Rose is a great example of that. I mentioned it earlier with Tim Duncan. When you're about to burn a timeout as a coach, that's when you have this a superstar really can do some good things. give the ball to Duncan, you're going to get you a free throw or wide open three
The
or
momentum
or a shot.
killer. Yeah, you need that momentum killer basket.
Yeah, now I don't have to burn a timeout.
Yeah.
That would be like the guys who I think are. But there's a lot of guys that can't do that. They can't just give them the ball and go get you a great shot coming out.
You probably won't remember this, and I'm probably the only person who remembers this or even thinks about the 0-2 Eastern Conference Finals, because the Celtics came like damn close, and we were talking about this before, how good Cade was, and how the Celtics kind of pushed him. The Celtic fans pushed him over the edge with some of the comments from the stands, which just gave him this look in his eye that was a little similar to LeBron in Game 6. But there was a play in Game 4, I'm pretty sure I remember this correctly, where we had a big basket. The kid just went down, and it had like what you would just call the momentum killer basket, and just killed it. And I really feel like if he hadn't made that play, we're in the finals. And it was just like, it was one of those moments where he just could sense it. He's like, I'm squashing this.
Yeah.
I don't remember how much time was left, but I remember watching it going, uh-oh, that was the window, and he just slammed it.
Yeah.
And that was it. But the great players sense that moment.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think he had 3 charges. Like, we were losing that game. We should have lost.
They had to change the charge rule because he was so good at it in those 2 series.
And that's when you watch great players, that's what you're watching. That's what you're looking at. You're not looking at all the other stuff. You're looking at, like, in times of despair. And it happened throughout the game. They're not always in the fourth quarter with a minute to go. They're all through the game. A team goes on a 12-2 run. Well, how did they get to that point? What did that star do during the 12-2 run? Like, how did he respond? Did he hold his head down? Did he take the ball and make something happen? That is the point in which you can separate, like, and in your book, you talked about a lot of this kind of stuff, but that's where you can separate where, like, stars are like, these are mega stars. These are Hall of Fame type of NBA superstars. And that's how I would separate those guys. Guys who make big plays when their play is when it's
needed.
And
let's be honest, this is why LeBron took such a heavy beating. Because you look at, like, were you on the 2010 Celtics? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Game 5. Game 5 LeBron when he checked out in Cleveland.
Oh, yeah, I don't yeah. That's the world's biggest mystery. I mean, no one has ever been able to figure that.
But I mean, we're talking about that, like, there's a moment that's slipping away, and that's when you expect your guy to be like, uh-oh, this is slipping away, I got this.
Yeah.
And he just didn't do anything. And then the next year in the finals against Dallas, when I think he just had so much scrutiny and attention, it almost, I think he melted down. And I was at those games, and I was watching his teammates, trying to pump him up in the huddle in Game 5 specifically. Just, come on, this is it, take us home. And you could see it. He wasn't ready.
Yeah.
He just, for whatever reason, and then last year, he figured it out. And that's what scares me about this season.
It went from one game to the next, and then he's been a monster ever since then, right?
Well, don't you think it continues this year? Now that he smells it, I just feel
and you see him during the Olympics? I mean, it was like a different guy.
Different guy. I feel like he's crossed some sort of invisible...
So do you think that, like, is there a moment in athlete's career where it's one moment, like, it's the embarrassment of Game 5, having, I think, 16 points in the first half, running out, dominating, and then to go on and lose that game.
You're talking about last year?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then all the scrutiny, Skip Bayless, Stephen A. Smith, everybody, Jalen Rose, whoever.
And then Pierce, who he doesn't like, hits the biggest shot of that game. Starts talking about how he had the balls to take the shot. You don't. KG's in his ear. You suck. You lost again.
Now, was that,
I think that's it.
rock bottom? Yeah. Is that rock bottom for
rock
LeBron?
Bottom
do we all agree that Game 5 is rock bottom for LeBron James?
That's why he came out in Game 6, and I will always believe this till day I die. He came out and he was like, if I'm going down, I'm going down with me.
Yeah.
Screw these other guys.
No bullets.
He was like a tennis player in that game. It was like, do I have a teammate? I don't even know.
It was so...
I'm shooting every time.
Ridiculous.
You guys can go over here.
It was ridiculous. And it's like he was trotting up the floor, and he was like... This guy is playing a different game tonight.
It was incredible. It was one of the most incredible things I've ever seen.
And then, let's go on. Game 7, really good.
Really good. But, I mean, he had already, at that point, the Celtics kind of knew.
So then, here's one for you. Game 1, LeBron Durant.
Yep.
He guards Derek Fisher, and Shane Battier guards Durant. They lose.
Yeah.
He guards Durant the rest of the series, and they go on to win 4 games in a row. So do you say now LeBron James is taking that challenge now on the defensive end as well as on the offensive end?
Well, I think he was doing so much offensively.
So Michael Jordan did it too.
Well, but I'm saying, like, I think just because of the short schedule, maybe they were like,
good point.
All right, we could try to save some miles here. But then, as you said, the last 4, I've never seen anybody do what he did in the playoffs. He was doing everything offensively and then guarding the other team's best player on defense, which
Agree.
Jordan did, but the game's a lot more complicated now. And by the way, Jordan, look, go watch like I don't know, the 93 finals or whatever. He's guarding Dan Marley and John Starks, and the only one that he really went head to head at who was on his level was Drexler.
Reggie Miller, tough guard, running through
98.
screens.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. Yeah, he was chasing
Yeah.
Reggie Miller around the screens.
Drexler, yeah, Clyde, but at least he took the challenge.
But nobody on the level of Durant. I mean, Durant's like offensive.
all right, well then I'll go.
Shark.
Okay, go watch New York Knicks round 1 and watch his defensive effort against Carmelo Anthony. I truly believe that Game 5 was rock bottom for him, and then he just
I agree
bounced
with you.
back from that and is like, you know what? If I got to win, I got to do it all. I got to do it offensively. I got to do it defensively, and I'm really interested to see how he progresses this year.
You left out the part with that game where, even though he was doing that, the Celtics played like absolute crap, and Pierce was just, his body was breaking down.
6.
Game 6.
6, yeah.
But they were still hanging around that game.
Man,
They were like down 8. I remember Rondo had a little charge that would have made it 5. And
Yeah.
I always felt like we weren't totally. And then LeBron killed it.
That's amazing because, like, I was at that game and I had the feeling of a remarkable comeback. Like,
There was one moment in the third quarter where
Yeah,
like, are we going to come back from this?
when Petrus missed the 2 threes.
Yeah.
And it bang, bang. And it, like, 8 could have been 2 and it turned to 14. You know, like, it was just like that.
It was the worst time of the year to play a terrible game.
Yeah.
And then especially him on the other end. But, you know, they were in Game 7, too. They, I remember, I think Ray missed a big layup at one point with like 8 minutes left, and Bosch hit a huge corner 3, which he just doesn't normally do.
Yeah.
And there were a couple, you know, you put yourself in a position and go either way. I think LeBron is going to annihilate everybody this year. You mentioned Rondo as MVP. Like, I just think like the only discussion is who's the number 2 MVP, because I don't see any way now that they have figured out the whole no position, it doesn't really matter, just let's give the ball here, like let's stop trying to overthink this. I don't see how you stop it. And I'm not saying that as a reverse jinx. Like, now that he has figured out the low post is my friend, I don't know how you stop it. I'm sure there's a way. I just can't think of it.
Yeah, I don't actually. I don't know either. Like, by trying to analyze him, I don't know either. To be honest with you, I mean, he is so good, and he's so dominant, and he breaks all the molds.
The Lakers could potentially just say, we're going big. We're going to throw Gasol and Howard at the same time, and you guys are just, that's fine. LeBron can kill us. We'll have Howard helping out, and you guys can figure it out. But on the other side, we're going to post up LeBron and whoever, try to get him in foul trouble. Maybe that's another key.
I think that's the only reason why they're not getting rid of Artest.
Why?
Because of LeBron. I mean, who else can match up with LeBron in the finals than Artest? At least he can, like, Artest is still a really good defender. I mean, he challenges shots. He makes guys take contested.
He cost you a ring, too.
Man, how about
he made that
game?
stupid 3.
How about that game?
That stupid 3 with like 50 seconds left.
Yeah. You know what? You got to tip your hat to him, man.
Where is your ring?
I keep it at my neighbor has a safety deposit box in Boston. I felt bad for like I'm living in Seattle right now. I felt bad for taking it and leaving out of the state of Massachusetts. It needs to be there.
Isn't it funny that everybody talks about is we got to get a ring. Like, oh, I finally got my ring. And then it ends up in a safety deposit box. Or like in some desk drawer. Like, nobody wears it. They're too big.
They're too big.
You can't wear them.
Why are they so big?
They're like this big.
Yeah, why would they do that?
I don't know why they do it. Like, it almost should be like a necklace.
I think it gets like
I think, what about necklaces? Would you like a necklace with the ring dangling from it?
No, you can get that. These guys come in, you can order all kinds of stuff.
This just seems illogical that everybody works so hard for something that they can't wear.
I mean, it is so big.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
What was your best memory from the 24 hours after you won the title.
The 48 hours after I won the title.
48 hours after. Yeah.
Like, so, parade, you know.
Did you sleep?
No, I did all right. I mean, you know, during the day, then you go to the parade.
Did you have to pass out from drinking too much?
No.
No.
No,
Did
but
anyone on the team
my
have to pass
podium,
out?
my podium, podium thing. I was, my pregame meal was 4:00. It's now midnight or 1.
Yeah.
And you take a bottle of champagne down.
Goes right to your head.
Oh, right there.
Champagne's evil.
And then there was like an open. And I was so mad that people weren't picking us. How can you not pick us to win? Like, how can you not pick us to win?
Which in Game 6 or
no, just the series.
Yeah.
And we were a better team.
You're a better team.
So
they weren't healthy.
Yeah, just.
Was there anybody you were worried about? Any teammates during that 48 hours?
Yeah. For sure. You got to. I will say this. It was the most stressful time up until the point you win it. It's like it's not like it's not like a buildup of good. It's like basketball is stressful.
Just gutting it out for
grinding,
2 months.
Like you're on the verge, and you see Garnett after a game, he can barely walk, and you're like, dude, he's gonna play tomorrow. Like, how is this gonna happen? How are we gonna win without Garnett? And then he gets on and he plays, and then you win, and it's like you need emotionally 2 days just to calm down. And then you have a parade, and you go to Fenway, and Pierce throws out the first pitch, and then you go and do something else. And
so you guys, this will be the 5-year anniversary coming up. Is that a team that's going to stay in touch? Could you see all arranging some sort of dinner, or did the Ray Rondo thing now? It's
it'll be fine. When everyone retires, so 10 years.
10 years from now.
Yeah, 10 years.
Ray and Rondo, they hug.
You think 10 years? Or would it be a good amount of time?
I don't know. I always like when teams get back together that won a title. It always seems like it's
20 years.
20 years?
That's everyone would be out of the league at that point.
Yeah. So we need 20 years for Ray and Rondo to maybe.
Think they boo Ray 20 years from now?
The waiters boo Ray at the 20-year anniversary dinner?
Yeah, they might.
I think the Ray thing's going to be fine. He could squash it with a very carefully worded 1-paragraph interview comment to some reporter. All you have to do with Boston is just talk about how great the fans are, and they forgive it. Just talk about.
He wrote. He had the paper.
No, I know, but nobody's going to remember that. They're only going to remember this last stuff and the little back and forth. So all you have to do is just 5 great years. I'm going to miss playing there. Best fans I've ever played for. That's all you have to do. It takes a minute.
Man, you know what? I should
be a media consultant. I should be a media strategist.
Yeah, I bet a media strategist wouldn't come up with something that simple and to the point.
Just Ray, just butter him up.
I'm going to go have an interview with him.
Tell him.
I'm going to do an interview with him, and that's what he's going to say. We're going to have one question.
Yeah.
Anything you want to tell the fans. Boom, done.
08 was the greatest moment of my career. I'm always going to have it. I love playing with that team. I miss the guys.
Yeah.
It's going to be weird being on the other side.
Yeah.
But you know what? Sports is a business, and this was the right move for me. I'm still rooting for those guys. I still talk to it's so easy.
Easy.
It takes a minute.
Yeah.
And that's it. Everybody in Boston will be like, that's nice. He still cares.
And then once you keep saying that, then people will just stop asking you.
Once you start doing I wasn't respected.
Yeah.
It was time for me to go.
Yeah.
And Rondo and and then it makes you. It's like you're a bitter ex-lover, basically,
It's
a spurned romance.
Yeah,
anyway, so Brian Scalabrine, you're to be on 13 games this year for Comcast Sports.
Just till January 1st. At that point, we're gonna kind of see how this thing. I mean, I
thought you were excellent. I really thought you did the two.
I have a long ways to go.
No, you were good. Here's the thing: you're pointing out stuff as the game's going along. And when you're talking about, there was one play I remember, somebody took a 3, and as they took the 3, Sullinger was moving his body in there, and he got an offensive rebound. And you were pointing out how, that's like an underrated art, is people kind of sneaking in and boxing out people on offensive rebounds. Guys don't normally do that. That's the kind of stuff I want to hear. As long as you're pointing that stuff out, I'm happy. Okay. Or if you're saying, there's Joakim Noah, I remember this, when I played with him, the one thing he loves to do is to fake like he's going to drive and shoot a 10-footer, and I kept falling for it. If you're weaving your own personal experiences with things that you've noticed about tendencies of players, that's what I want.
Okay. Now, what about, I need another word besides that was a great move. The other day
Great move. Killer move. How about killer move?
Think so? I think that's like it's not
Killer move?
I gotta keep it G-rated.
Or do you want to do? Or you need like a catchphrase maybe?
I feel like I say great too much.
Well,
Great. That's a great move. Like the other day, Fab Melo checked in the game, and he airballed a shot. I didn't say anything. He airballed another shot. I didn't say anything. Then he shot it and hit the rim. I said, Fab Melo doing a great job at drawing iron on that shot. Like, okay. I mean, at that point, come on. No, I just got to find out.
You're going to have little quirks that here's the thing. It's like, it's reps.
Reps.
I've been doing podcasts for 5.5 years. If you listen to the first year podcast, I'm better at it now because the more you do it, the better you get at it.
Do you feel that way about your own stuff, or does other people feel that way too?
I don't know. I know it's a fact. Like I wouldn't even want to listen to the first year podcast. Yeah. I don't know what I'm doing. But you learn on the fly and you figure out like, oh, I shouldn't say that. I'm saying awesome too much.
Yeah.
I'm my fake laugh. I got to get rid of that. Like you'll pick it up.
Okay.
I think you're gonna do good. Plus, you were fortunately on all these good teams. Like you actually, like if you think about it, like going to grad school for basketball.
Yeah.
You get to play on the Jason Kidd teams, then the Garnett teams, and then these last couple Bulls teams.
Yeah.
I forgot to ask you. Do you think the Bulls would have beaten Miami last year?
100% healthy. Everyone healthy.
Yeah. Rose doesn't get hurt, and Noah doesn't get hurt.
I mean, I don't know. They were good. Miami was good, and our problem areas were. I mean, let's just say this: every
Did you
game,
have home court or no? You didn't.
Yeah, we had
you
best
had
record.
home court.
Yeah, best record. Every game would have been, came down to, last couple possessions. Ball could bounce either way. I mean,
right.
I just here's the issue. Will Derrick Rose, at the end of a game, after carrying the Bulls all the way to the 44th minute of the game, does he have enough in the tank to face a fresh LeBron James and a fresh Dwayne Wade down the stretch? Because I'm telling you, Derrick Rose healthy against those guys, he is the alpha male on that team. Like, he's the best player when we play against Miami when he's healthy. Like, we've seen it down in Miami, down 14, Derrick Rose brings the team back. But in the playoffs, 44 minutes of grinding and getting hit and all that stuff, and then last 4 minutes they put LeBron James on him. That was our big issue. How can we score when LeBron is on Derrick for the last 4 minutes of the game?
LeBron's amazing.
I
hate to keep gushing about it, but I mean, when you just be like, oh yeah, we're going to put LeBron on you, and now come up with a plan B. And then on the other end, LeBron's going to do everything. It's tough.
He's good.
It's tough.
Athletically, he's a freak.
He's a freak.
He's a freak.
We've never seen anybody do what he did in the playoffs on both ends, playing 44 minutes a game every other night.
Yeah. Question. Better than no chance of being better than Jordan?
Nah, there's a chance now. But I still feel like
how
the difference with Jordan, and then we were talking about this. We were watching this Kings Lakers game, and DeMarcus Cousins got in Kobe's face a little bit, and they started going back and forth. And to me, that was the underrated thing with Jordan, is the other players were terrified of him.
Oh, yeah,
you weren't in the league yet, but
it
was he had such command of the room in any game, and it was like nobody even wanted to. The book was like, don't even talk to him. Don't make eye contact with him. It was like dealing with a pit bull.
Yeah.
It was just like, leave him alone. Just let him do his thing. Don't make him mad. And I think that, I don't know if LeBron is at that point. I don't think we'll see that again where the book on somebody was not to antagonize them in any way because they will make you pay. If LeBron can get to that point, I'd be impressed.
Jordan.
Yeah, you missed out on the Jordan thing.
No, I know, but like, it's like I do this every 3 weeks. It's like a clockwork. I just like fill my void. Like you see these new players and you see the old game. And by the way, the 90s basketball is like the best basketball of all time.
Best.
By far.
Best.
Not even close.
No question.
Then, and then you watch
Well, it's
Jordan.
more physical too. And that's the other thing he had to deal with was the physical, the way that he went in the lane and people hit him. And now it's like LeBron can go to the lane and nobody's going to hit him, and if they do hit him, they're going to call it.
Yeah.
That's why I really enjoyed the Olympics, because these guys are doing these moves that get automatic whistles in the NBA, and internationally they don't. And it was a couple times where they're driving the lane, they know they're going to get the call, but there was no call.
Oh, yeah.
That's not going to work here.
Yeah.
You can't do that. You can't do that in international basketball.
They didn't do that in the 90s.
They didn't do it in the 90s.
If you put your head down, just ran to the basket and jumped up in the air and threw some balls.
You didn't get a call.
No. You're not. There's like, that's bad basketball. We're not calling that, but nowadays that gets called.
Yeah.
So
Jordan to me is still, I don't even, LeBron would have to get to the 6 titles, and he'd have to win 6 or 7 MVPs, and he'd have to remain as healthy as he's remained. And then we could start talking about it in 2018. But I'm not close yet.
Like, that conversation shouldn't even happen at least for 3-4 years.
He's the first one, though, since the Jordan Apex that's made me at least think about it. The Kobe thing was ridiculous. I mean, I never bought into that. But anyway, we got to let you go.
You got it. I got things
TV.
to do today.
You'll come back, though, right? You're going to be in L.A. every once in a while.
Yeah, if I come down.
We left a lot of stuff on the table.
We're going to come back and do another one of these?
Yeah, down the road.
Okay, we're going to leave the Scalabrine jersey off?
I'm never taking the Scalabrine jersey off. Look
that
at
is
it.
so
It's
much
just magnificent.
Look at that right there.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Thank you.
You got it.
So I get to sign off. Whoa!
Thank you for downloading the BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Too much fun.
Check out more podcasts at the iTunes Music Store or at PodCenter at ESPNRadio.com.
Peace out.